What's going on, y'all? I hope you're having a good day, and I hope you're having a good week, and I hope you had a great weekend despite all the craziness going on. I just want to cover a few things real quick. I'm not really into negative news. That's not really what I do here, if you noticed. But Portland and Seattle are going crazy this weekend, and the mainstream media just does not seem to cover it accurately. In fact, the only reason that I know what's really going on is a bunch of my friends are independent journalists. Some are on the scene, and some are just sharing the information. But a lot of stuff has been going on in Portland and Seattle, and the news does not want to cover it. For example, the other day, this weekend, a Portland Police Association office was set on fire. Today you had an Amazon Go broken into, Starbucks, a lot of stuff. They're just smashing, causing chaos, looting, and vandalizing and beating up like government buildings. It's absolutely a mess. If you want to see some good footage, you can follow my friend Kalen on Twitter or Instagram. It's at FromKalen, from Kalen. There's a few other people on the ground that are sharing videos, but you got to see the footage itself. I wanted to talk about it and what's happening. Crime is surging in New York City and other big areas. I got the stats and data here, and I mainly just want to talk about it, what's going on. I think a lot of people who follow me probably figured it out by now, but in these cities, there's many reasons, the shutdown being one of them, but there's something that they're not doing right. And before we start, I'll take a minute or two for everyone to get in. Kindness is not weakness. We say it here all the time. I try to be a nice person. I try to be compassionate and thoughtful, but at the end of the day, when it comes to my life or my finances, like, I don't accept people robbing me. I don't accept people it's things that are important where you have to draw the line, especially if you're the police force, especially if you're the government. I'm as libertarian as it comes, but the one place I'm not is with sensible crimes for criminals and murderers and things like that. But for some reason, the Democrats are the opposite. They're like total socialists where they want control over everything. But then when it comes to things like, 8 months into a pregnancy or, crime, all of a sudden they're libertarians and they just don't want to enforce the law. You have to enforce the law. I'm not a gung-ho police fanatic here, but when you show weakness in your city and you allow government buildings to be set on fire, the penalty for that should be so severe that anybody thinking about doing that knows that they're going to spend a lifetime in prison, as they should. You should not purposely set a building on fire. I mean, you should get some pretty hard time, but they're allowing it to happen. You have these Democrat mayors and Democrat governors blaming the president for literally doing nothing. If he does nothing, they blame Trump. If he actually does something and sends in the National Guard or some sort of, national military or police, then they say he's sending in unmarked vans. It's insane to watch what's going on. I hope people are paying attention, and I hope people consider it in November, despite the fact that both parties seem to be pretty crummy. But you guys get it. I'm gonna drink some water. As you know, this is double filtered, very important. I filter it once and I filter it twice. Not to brag, but I do have sriracha sauce here. Not sure what that means, but I'm just letting you guys know where I'm at personally in life. I put some hot sauce on it, so not in the water, but on my dinner. What's up, Angel? What's up, Stefan? So it said it's not only New York City, Long Island is starting to get it there too. Oh, I bet. Las Vegas might shut down. We'll talk about it. I need some water. Hold on. I need to water up. I might need to chug this whole thing. Scott from Missouri, God bless you. Woo! I need this. I'm proud of myself. I brewed my own coffee today. I got in a little altercation at the coffee shop because I had a towel around my face, and they said, no, it's not a mask. And point being, okay, whatever happened. But I won't show you. I'll just show you. Okay, so normally, this is what happened to me earlier. I'll just give you a little intro before we start. So normally when I go into the coffee shop, I wear this. It's just a bandana. I dress like a bandit because it's annoying, and I'm just like, okay, give me my coffee, and then I leave. I didn't have this, and I only had a beach towel. So I wrapped the beach towel around my face, and I went in like this. And I was like, hey, can I get a coffee? And they said, no, sorry, you can't come in with that, or next time you can't do it. And I was like, it's the same thing as a bandana. A bandana is cloth. This is thicker cloth. I was like, do you want me to tie it? I tied it. I could barely breathe. I'm like, this is thin. This doesn't even cover the bottom of my mouth. This is thick. So I tied her on my face. I said, sorry, that's not the same. I'm like, what science are you going by? Point being, I got in a little altercation at the coffee shop. So I'm coming back tomorrow with my space helmet on. See if they give me trouble with this. But the whole reason I even told that story was because I brewed my own coffee. I got a Chemex pour over. This is not a sponsored ad. I wish it was. I wish they were paying me. But I looked up on Amazon and, all this stuff before. Instead of burning it like these people, I actually order it because it's a decent service. I mean, Bezos is kind of a sneak. I don't trust him. But let's be honest, Amazon's fantastic. They just deliver in 2 days. It's like $20. But I got a pour over coffee. The point being, long story short, I made my own homegrown pour over coffee this morning. It was delicious. I think I made it too strong. I'm jacked up and I can't drink any more coffee for the day because I think I drank like 10 times as much caffeine. So that was a long-winded story, but overall, started pouring my own coffee. That's what you do. They don't let you in. I make my own and it tastes way better. The beans are fresh, the whole nine. Hold on. All right. Sorry, I'm a little caught up in the sauce now. What I want to talk about today was Portland and Seattle. It's crazy because if you don't watch the right news, and I don't even watch TV news. I'm sure Fox is pretty chaotic too. But if you're watching CNN or MSNBC, I was talking to someone the other day and they're like, I explained that I came from Los Angeles and I was like, yeah, they burnt down West Hollywood. They started looting Santa Monica. They were marching through Beverly Hills, saying they wanted to eat the rich. This all happened. And they're like, really? They were like, they thought all the protesters were peaceful. They're like, people did that? I'm like, yeah, they burned down the coffee shop I used to go to. I'm like, they destroyed, my friend standing on his rooftop in Santa Monica and they're just looting the shoe store right next to him. And she was like, did that really happen? No way. I'm like, yes. But if you don't watch the right news, you think it's not happening. So the point I'm trying to get to, I don't like this negative news, but not only did this all happen in New York City, Los Angeles, Minneapolis, they just destroyed large parts of the city. Not only are we having a huge spike in crime and murder in New York City, Portland and Seattle, these left-wing, I don't want to name names. I don't know what group they're part of, but these angry, self-hateful, just deviant degenerates are out in the streets going nuts this weekend, and I just don't think anyone's going to cover it. People think it's over. They're like, oh yeah, that was the George Floyd thing, and now we're back onto the coronavirus. No, these kids won't stop, and they're never going to stop until somebody stops them. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, but if they're consistently doing crime, something's got to give. I mean, in Portland yesterday, they burned down a police association and a police association's office. I'm reading CNN headlines. This stuff is ridiculous. They say, after a Portland Police Association office is set on fire, Trump and the mayor blame each other for more unrest. This is the game they play because so many people are emotional about Trump. If they can throw Trump on the name, everybody just hates Trump and they're like, Cuomo's doing a great job with the coronavirus because Cuomo's doing the worst job with the coronavirus. I'm just going to read stats real quick before I get sidetracked. New Jersey, 1776 deaths per million. This is not, everyone's like, oh, they're tight-knit. Yeah, but this is per population, per million. So this is, if you're in a smaller area, you need less. Anyway, New York has 1,674 deaths per million. That's crazy. That's enormous. Florida, 232. They're doing almost 10 times, 9, 8, 7 times better than New York. The point I'm getting to is they just say Trump and people are like, Cuomo, Fauci said Cuomo's really handling he's doing the worst job, not even in the country, arguably in the world. No one has more deaths per capita than that guy, and they're saying he's a model citizen. So with that, it's how is Trump responsible for the Portland protests? If Trump had it his way, he'd be like a Giuliani. No BS, law and order. The police would be standing up to these people, throwing them in jail forever. They get it their way. They just let it happen. They're weak. They say, we don't even see it. We don't even know. You don't notice your police association thing caught on fire. You don't notice Amazon Go getting your windows bashed in. This isn't occurred. They don't even see it. So then what Trump does is he says, I'm going to send people in there. He sends people in there, and then they say, oh my God, Trump's a dictator. Oh my God, he's a dictator sending in unmarked vehicles, and he's doing bad things. So Trump is causing crime by sending in unmarked. You can't handle yourself. You're getting beat up. Your whole city's getting just looted and vandalized. They're taking over large quantities of the city like it's theirs. You do nothing about it. He decides to act, and then you blame him for that. These people are so pathetic. There's nothing they won't lie about. I'm going to read another CNN headline. It's sad to me that people hate Trump so much that they believe this stuff. If you hate Trump, at least just like watch cat videos, or you know what I'm saying? Like, can't watch sports anymore. They canceled it. So do something else. Play a video game or something. But it's a CNN headline. Crime is surging in U.S. cities. So CNN admits, they always give you like a half-truth, and then they have to make up something that doesn't exist. Ready? Here's the first half. Crime is surging in U.S. cities, says CNN. Some say defunding the police will actually make it fall. Whoa. Okay, so CNN logic, guys. Crime surging in U.S. cities, and some say defunding the police will actually make it fall. So some people said that the defunding the police will make crime fall. We have a country of over 300 million people. What did you find? 10 people who are just really dumb, who are like, oh, I think defunding police makes crime fall. And they're like, some say that, I don't know, some said it, so we're going to make it the headline. Like, yeah, of course, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a third grader, and a bunch of angry anarcho, communists who hate themselves and are mad at their parents or something for watching Fox News. They said it, so you're going to put it in your headline. Who thinks that defunding the police is going to make crime fall? And it's not even just the amount of police, the sheer amount. It's what they're allowed to do and what they do. If you let people burn stuff and you don't show like you're supposed to be the police, you let them burn you're sending like a bat signal to every degenerate in the city that's just like, oh, we can burn cop cars, we can burn stuff and nothing's going to happen, or it's going to be pretty easy. Then they're going to keep doing it until you stop them. That's kind of how crime works a lot of times, but it's just nuts reading these headlines and just thinking people actually believe this stuff. This is from New York Times, July 6th. It says, spike in New York City shootings leaves 64 shot, 10 dead. What to know about the New York City's uptick in shootings. I'm not even going to click on it because 1, they want my subscription. I refuse to pay them or sign my email up. 2, I could care less what they say. They're going to have these pseudo-intellectual experts. Like, there's this one where they're like, your protests spread coronavirus. Our protests don't spread coronavirus. And they're like, this is an exaggeration because I can't remember her name, but it's like Betty Johnson, PhD at Harvard, is confused at why she feels like your protest spread corona. She's like, I'm conflicted. I said no protest, but then I went to go protest, and I can't figure out why that makes sense, because it doesn't make sense. You're a liar. It's like, I can't believe they believe themselves. And then they play this game where they just destroy anybody in the organization who doesn't agree with them. It's like the hive mind gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and left-wingers like Barry Weiss leave. She's like, whoa, this is even too crazy to me. And she kind of sucks. No offense to Barry Weiss, God bless her soul, but like, she's not the greatest person either. And I'm not saying she's not great. Like, everyone's got flaws. I'm just saying, writing-wise, opinion-wise, politics-wise, I've seen better. She can't even put up with it. She's like, whoa, I got to get out of here. So, people message me all the time from big companies that, like, everyone's just like, so if we have any Republicans here, what we're going to do is we're going to have to re-educate them, put them in re-education schools so they can figure out how to be liberal like us. And you got like a lot of, conservatives at the work. They just don't say anything because they don't want to get like beaten up by the mob. They're like, whoa. And then they message me. They're like, anomaly. People are like literal psycho. They're like, so if, we believe in tolerance and diversity at our company. We're so tolerant that if we do spot out a Nazi communist or a Nazi conservative, we're going to re-educate them to be liberal like us. And like, there's like, never mind. You get what I'm saying. It's absolutely nutty. So I'm going to read some comments. I'm not going to get into too much because tomorrow morning I'm going to have a fresh video with you after this. I'm going to film and edit a video. Can't stop, won't stop, always working. But Kanye did a whole presentation. I guess he's running for president. Everybody's making fun of him. As always, they're saying he's so dumb. He actually said a lot of real stuff, so I'm going to make a compilation of the best stuff instead of the worst like everyone else. And we're going to get it popping. But overall, when it comes to Portland and Seattle, I just don't see these cities. This is my last really analysis, and then I'll get to some questions. Portland, Seattle, Los Angeles, New York, Minneapolis, beautiful cities, or at least at some point they were before all this stuff. They're not going to get better for multiple reasons. One, you have to run the city. They gave us a stimulus check for, 3 weeks. They're like, we're going to shut down for 2 weeks. Here's $1,200. It's been 3 months. It's soon going to be a year. So, how long are you going to pay people $1,200? People need a schedule. People need a job. People need a career. People need society to be open. This is just totally irrational, shutdowns and quarantines that we're doing for a virus. When it's all said and done, the mortality rate is not astronomical like they said it was, and they're finding that out now. It doesn't make sense, but at a certain point, we're going to have to get back to normal because everybody has way too much time on their hands. And then second of all, on that note, Democrats are just way too weak. For example, I've lived in an area that's more conservative. I've lived in an area that's more Democrat. It's like night and day in ideology. In the Democrat areas, they allow you to steal. It's like you could steal up to like $1,000 and they'll be like, we'll let you off on a misdemeanor. I had a friend in Los Angeles. He has like a little studio that he rents out sometimes. It got broken into by this guy. He fell through the roof of a bar, broke into the bar, broke into his Airbnb little studio thing, broke into 3 different places. He's like bleeding. It looks like a nightmare. He sends me an Instagram video. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, this is happening right now. I'm like, thank God I left that place. But they can't even charge the guy. The police are like, we're not allowed to do anything. They're just letting criminals run rampant. There's psychos all over the place. Homelessness is growing. Most of these homeless people are not just looking for food. There's a lot of drug addicts and serious crime problems within that community. I know because I live there, and it's not like they're just begging for food. It's like they're just camping out and just growing their community. And people have to walk through those streets, and kids in school, when there is school, now there's no school. But you get what I'm saying? It's a whole mindset problem. These cities are not going to get better. How is Portland going to get better? They have weak, pathetic leadership, and there is no pleasing the mob. This is what people need to understand. They say they want all this stuff. Who's the mayor of Portland? Is it Trump? Is it, Rudy Giuliani? No, it's Jenny Durkin or whatever her name is, progressive lesbian mayor who could not be further left, but she's not far left enough, so she can't do enough. She's being weak, getting taken advantage of, but not being weak enough for these people because what they want her to be is just a complete pushover, and you can't run a city being a pushover. You can't do anything in life being a pushover. These kids are just degenerates. They can't build. They're not creating anything. They're just destroying. And the government's partly responsible because you're not even allowing people to build. If you build a hair salon, you're not allowed to run your hair salon, but these people are looting hair salons left and right. You can't run your hair salon, but we're going to just turn the other cheek when they steal everything from the hair salon that we won't allow you to open. The government is responsible for this. It's disgusting what they're doing. You can't go and do this with 6 people, but we're going to do this with, we're going to allow people in Chicago. You can find videos. They're just shooting fireworks at police in groups of 100 people. So you're telling Chicago business owners and business owners in Los Angeles and San Francisco that they can't open their bar or their restaurant indoors, but you're allowing people to just shoot fireworks at the police and, saying, oh, don't listen, we can't do too much because we don't. At a certain point, these people are never going to be pleased. Either they're going to get a stronger leader or these cities are going to fail. Portland is going to fail. Seattle's going to fail. Los Angeles has been failing because of bad tax rules and just terrible leadership already. It's going to continue to fail. New York City is going to fail. There's no possible way they're ever going to succeed because anything they had going for them a year ago, even they had businesses leaving already. I lived there for 7 years. It was already declining, let alone shut the entire economy down. I mean, it's literally just self-imploding the entire place. There's no possible way it could get better at this rate before COVID. Now, after COVID, it's like hell. It's literally like hell. Leaving there, I've had the best 2 weeks of my life. I feel like I left literal hell and went to a place that's not hell. It's fantastic. I'm enjoying myself thoroughly. And I got a stand-up desk, so I got more energy when I stand up. But it's nuts. And to the people who hate Trump, this is my very clear message because a lot of people, surprisingly, I can't believe it because I know there's a lot of closed-mindedness. A lot of people say, Anomaly, I really don't like Trump, but I like your videos. I'm like, thank God you could listen to me. I appreciate it. But even if you don't like Trump, if you don't accept him, he's not this crazy leader. He's more pro-LGBT than Joe Biden. He's put more women in office, more gay people in office, more black people in powers of position. Obviously, Obama was the president, but he's doing a lot for these communities that you care about. He's actually like the perfect middle ground. To conservatives, he's actually not far right enough. You might not believe it, but it's true. So if you think Trump is bad, you're leaving no other option for a crazy leader to arise. Jenny Durkin is not going to take care of business. Governor Newsom's not going to take care of business. He's going to fail and fail and fail and fail. And California and Los Angeles is going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And people are going to be seeking for a leader like Trump or somebody stronger than Trump. So you could blame him for Portland. Portland's not Trump's fault. You could blame him for New York City. New York City's not his fault. Los Angeles is not his fault. California's not his fault. He just got into office 3 years ago. Everything in the world is not his fault, and especially the cities that he's not allowed to operate there. He doesn't make the rules. He doesn't control the police. All he could do is send in his own people and try to take care of business, and then they blame him anyway. But people are going to demand a stronger leader than Trump eventually, and that's going to be the only thing that will work, unfortunately. So if you think Trump is bad, keep acting this way, keep lying to yourself, keep decimating the cities, keep turning the other cheek and calling these people protesters, keep saying you don't see it, keep justifying it and saying, well, they can, they can just call their insurance and get the money back. It's like, that's not the point. I'm sure I could get insurance. I have, renter's insurance, but that doesn't mean you should light my building on fire or, the next person's building on fire. That's not how the world works. That's not, I shouldn't even have to explain why that's a terrible, horrible thing to do. But if you turn the other cheek to this stuff, there's going to be a strong leader. Either progressives are going to fail or a right-wing leader is going to rise. You choose. There's no way to win. I'm sitting here listening to intellectual discussions about society, about culture, about religion, and then I turn on your channels and you're like, well, you called me the wrong name. I go by her, and you called me the her, and I like three her. It's like, guys, you're not even impressing yourselves. You're certainly not impressing me. Half the country can't stand you, but even in your own group, it's not like you guys get together and you all love each other and agree with each other. You guys hate each other. You guys can't do anything but burn stuff down or just make excuses for these people or turn the other cheek because you're wealthy enough to avoid it. Like, this is not going to work. Portland is not going to work. Seattle's not going to work. None of these cities are going to, there's no possible way. CNN said, some people say defunding the police will make it fall, crime fall. I'm telling you right now, I already know dozens of people who've left major cities. People who
This is a conspiracy against the American people.
All right, some Trump ad ran on CNN. But people who have a family, people who can afford it, people who want to go to Arizona or Texas or somewhere that's cheaper, millions of people are leaving these cities. And the millions of people that are leaving the cities are not the degenerates, or they're not the criminals, they're not the people who are contributing to the demise of the cities. They're people who keep it afloat. They're workers, they're good people, they're family men, they're community men. Everyone's leaving. So you're going to be stuck in this city, in Portland, in Seattle, in Los Angeles, in New York. You're going to be stuck with a bunch of degenerates, criminals, and other people who don't want to, follow the law or run a society. And it includes, in Seattle and Portland, these kids are perhaps the worst of them all. Like I said the other day, I don't justify looting, but at the beginning, you had a lot of people just like stealing stuff, taking advantage of it. They're just doing it for a week because they think they can get some money out of it. I'm not saying it's right. It's still a crime, but these kids in Portland, these little like anarchist groups, these are evil little wicked people. They're never going to stop. It's not like, oh, I just need a TV for my house or something. It's like every day they're going to keep burning stuff. Every weekend. They're never going to stop. They just want to destroy everything. They're actually saying it. There's a thing of this woman. She's like literally saying she wants to dismantle the United States of America. 10 years ago, you said that out loud. They're calling you a terrorist. You know that they're investigating you. Now you say that. They've moved the Overton window so far that nothing matters anymore. Literally, you listen to Obama from 2014. He sounds like Donald Trump. He sounds like a conservative. And I'm not saying he did everything right. He did a lot wrong. But like, they've moved the Overton window so far. It's like, gay marriage, you're like, yeah, okay, sure, for whatever. And then it moves to like, LGBTQ, we're going to teach sexuality to 7-year-olds. And you're like, that's disgusting. Like, you shouldn't teach straight sexuality to 7-year-olds. Why would you teach gay sexuality? It doesn't, and oh, you're anti-LGBT. No, I just don't think you should sexualize kids. Is that a controversial thought now? To them it is, to certain people it is. So they've moved the Overton window so far, they don't even believe, we could take the police out of a place that needs more police, and I don't understand what they're thinking. But let me know what you guys think. Overall, I think this is my soft, friendly warning, I think, to the left wing, to the Democrats who are ignoring it. Maybe you're just following anti-Trump stuff and you have no idea what's going on. Maybe you're a progressive and you think Bernie Sanders is going to give you free health care or something. Maybe I don't know. I don't know where people are at. But if you ignore this stuff, Portland's not getting better, Seattle's not getting better, Los Angeles is not getting better, New York City's not getting better, America's not getting better, and two things are going to happen. Either it's going to completely implode, which is going to be horrific for everybody, because if you think the economy doesn't matter, you'll find out very soon what happens when your country does not lead the world or have a big economy. It leads to poverty, it leads to a decline in health, it leads to more crime. These are not good things for anybody, but either it's going to fail, these cities are going to collapse, and other people are just going to not want you or whatever, I don't know, take care of their own and say, you do what you want to do, or you're going to spur a right-wing leader. Why did Donald Trump win? People were tired of the weakness, So you got to identify why it's happening, because if you don't, there is no winning. You could think like, oh, we'll get rid of Trump and then Portland will be fine. Like, Trump is not the reason that Portland and Seattle are turning on each other. It's a mindset. It's an ideology. These people don't like the country. If you see an American flag, you almost assume it's a Trump supporter or a Republican. Why is that? Why is it that you see an American flag and you think Republican or Trump supporter? You don't see somebody draped in an American flag and be like, oh yeah, he's probably a Bernie Sanders supporter. Or he loves Hillary. Like, you don't think that. Most people think Trump or Republican because only Trump and Republicans at this point even semi-like the country, and maybe Joe Rogan and Elon Musk, and people hate them now because they actually want to build and not destroy. So a lot of stuff, a lot of uncomfortable truths people are going to have to wake up to, because at the end of the day, I've even seen it with my own personal career, and then I'm really going to get to comments and questions. When I first started rapping, when I first started talking, record labels told me, Anomaly, don't rap about politics. Don't talk about politics. Talk about women, talk about drugs, talk about, we'll dress you up like this and you'll be like the white boy, or like, they wanted me with the hair and the hat and like, dressing like, Abercrombie. Like, I'm not joking. This is what these people said to me in meetings. Like, yo, we'll dress you up in Abercrombie and we'll do this and talk. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not going to work. And the reason I'm talking about this is because the truth is like, it's like a bullet train. It doesn't move. The truth wins in the end. You could lie to yourself for 10 years and be like, this is going to be cool. But if it's not built in truth, it's going to collapse. So I stayed to I stayed tight to what I was talking about, and I still do. And it just grows and grows and grows. And it's not even me in general. You can ignore everything I'm saying. You can ignore me. You can ignore what I'm trying to say about Portland, Seattle. You could be like, well, this is really going to work if we just, talk about pronouns and like that's going to stop crime. We'll get rid of the police and we'll talk about. It's not going to work. You're lying to yourself. And I think half these people know that they're lying. It's just they're so caught in that world. I got people hitting me up. I can't say this stuff. I'll get fired. They're like, it's like a witch hunt. They're like, where are the conservatives? It's not going to work. The truth does not move. The truth is not going anywhere. The lie is going to collapse one way or the other. Either it's going to get defeated by righteous people, or it's going to collapse and bring a lot of people down with them. And unfortunately, it'll hurt a lot of people that way. So people like myself and others are trying to avoid that so we can actually, save a lot of people. I don't think this stuff's going to work. But let me know what you guys think. I'm going to read some comments, and then I'm going to take off in like 20 minutes because I got to do a whole nother video. Someone said Portland and Seattle rioters are interconnected. No, for sure. It's the same people. It's the same ideology. If you get into these people's ideology, it's like anarcho-communism. I'm not a professional in it, but I've talked to some people, some socialists, some communists. They say, Anomaly, we like your videos. I'm like, I can't believe that, but thank you. They want communism, but before communism, they want anarchy. Anarchy and communism, half the reason they're confused is because anarchy is far right-wing. Anarchy is no government. Anarchy is like no government, no laws, no rules. No. Communism is the opposite. It's big government, big control. So anarcho-communism are complete opposites, which is why they're all so confused. But also, they want to destroy the system, destroy capitalism, destroy everything, and then build off of that. And a lot of them are just irrationally angry, where they know how to destroy, but they don't know how to build. So they could destroy everything, and then everything's burning. And then you're like, okay, could you build an Amazon? I don't like Jeff Bezos. I don't like some of the way Amazon treats their workers, but at the end of the day, it's a fantastic service. It actually provides service. Elon Musk mentioned it. He's very liberal, but he said, you can't make something from nothing. You need to build. You need to have a company. Like, in order to create, it doesn't come from thin air. These people don't understand how things work. In order to build Teslas, you need employees. You need gigafactories. Like, you can't just create something from nothing. It takes a lot of work. That's why he hates communism and socialism, because he knows it doesn't work. That's not how you create. So these people are just burning everything. Of course they're interconnected. It's a far left ideology, and these Democrats are far left ideologically. Like, Bill de Blasio agrees with them. That's why he doesn't stop them. His daughter's out protesting with them. That's his ideology. This is what they've been waiting for. They just can't tell you that because they'll seem insane. So they just have to turn the other cheek and say, I don't see it. Is there anything happening? It's like, yeah, of course, it's so obvious. But what do I think about the corn shortage? I don't know. I'm taking it a little more seriously now because I figured out what you guys are talking about. They're starting to say, hey, we don't have coins, give us, your credit card. It seems like they're trying to phase off of physical cash and go into digital cash. This is a time, I'll say this and I'll get to another question. They've brainwashed us into thinking that World War II ended, Hitler, Stalin, America, yay, we just defeated it and we won and all the bad people went away, right? That's what I say something bad's happening, they say, anomaly, you're a conspiracy theorist. Why do you look through human history from BC to Christ to after Christ, or whatever it's called, AD, there's been chaotic stuff, good people, bad people, crazy stuff, World War I, World War II. People think it all went away. It's brainwashing. You can't possibly think anyone in the world would ever do anything bad to anyone ever. All of civilization has been, stories of conquering and civilizations and religious fights and ethnic fights. It's happened literally spanning throughout entire human civilization. And someone told you that it just magically stopped when Hitler went away and that, America defeated that and that we worked with communists to defeat them and that just was not sketchy to you. And then we took 1,600 Nazi scientists and leaders into the U.S. government and that didn't, spark a red flag. I don't know who lied to you, but everything I'm saying is fact right now. But the point I'm trying to get to is there still are bad people. So with the coin shortage, there better not be a corn shortage. I'm hungry. No, but with the coin shortage, as this is happening, this is the perfect time to take over a civilization, a country, an ethnic group, whatever you want to talk about, any sort of bad fear that you have. What better time than now? The shops are shut down, the businesses are shut down. America isn't working. You have China and Japan, they've been open for months. There's other countries that are operating. Most of Europe is not even wearing masks. Like, everybody else is getting their economy started except for America. So what better time to destroy America? Whether it's a coin shortage, a coin shortage, or this or that. Like, you think China thinks like a progressive? Like, these people are so dumb. I'm trying not to be mean, but it's like China is ruthless. You know what I'm saying? China works at a communist level where they're like moving like a unit. They're like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to shut down this. We want to take over America. We want to be the world's biggest economy. And we're sitting here like, no, they wouldn't do that because my teacher said that once the World War II happened, everybody good in world except Trump bad. And there's no way that could happen. We're shut down because we're wearing masks because Dr. Fauci. It's like, keep thinking that way. So with the coin shortage, there's definitely something suspicious about it. And overall, who wouldn't take advantage of America right now? It's like Portland and Seattle. Why wouldn't they take advantage of Portland and Seattle? They're weak. They're pathetic. Their mayors are weak. Their governors are weak. Their leadership is weak. They're making the police weak. The people are weak. Weakness gets taken advantage of. It's like, oh, let's not build a wall. It's like, yeah, that makes sense if you're 5 years old or you believe, pronouns are the most important thing to the world. Think about any sort of secure place. Does Fort Knox have walls? Or does Fort Knox just say, hey guys, we have all of America's gold here just laying in a field because we're so nice and we don't want to offend anybody, so, we didn't lock the gold up. We just put it here, and we just assume no one's going to take it. No one does that anywhere. Not when celebrities go to Hollywood and shut down the streets. They shut down the streets. They have 20 plus cop cars. They build walls and fences so you can't get by, because that's how you secure an area. And that's what the same celebrities do. And then they get on the Oscars and say, don't build a wall. Meanwhile, they just built a wall to keep, poor and middle class people away from seeing them. So that's how you secure a nation. This is like basic common sense. They're like, no, we don't want to do nothing like that. That's a mean thing to do. You're going to get conquered. You're either going to conquer yourselves. Look at the history of Marxism, guys. Marxists always kill other Marxists. They destroy themselves because they're evil, wicked people. They don't think build. They don't think create. They don't judge people by content of character. They don't think in terms of God. They think in terms of just complete soullessness, this, that. They're always attacking each other. You're going to get either conquered by yourself or by a stronger group of people. Like, it's just human nature. It's like, that's what's going to happen. I don't know. You can just fight each other at a Starbucks and bash Starbucks windows in. Meanwhile, the rest of the nation is, buying guns. I'm not saying I'm not wishing on any sort of terrible thing, but look up the numbers. I'm just talking facts. Let's see, Google. Gun sales. Let's see, I wonder why they went up this year. Gun sales are surging among first-time owners amid the pandemic. This is a Newsmax. Here's why. I'm sure they're not actually saying the truth. It's Newsweek, but 3 million more gun sales than usual have happened during the pandemic started. It's because people look at this stuff. You see, first of all, the government shut down the entire civilization, basically. So right off the jump, people are buying guns for that reason. The government just told you can't stay out past 8 o'clock and you can't go to your business. That's selling guns. And then you watch race riots and protests and all sort of political, theater of looting and riots, and the media pretends like it's not happening. That makes people want to buy guns. And then you see people like the McCloskeys in St. Louis who are just trying to defend their property, and then they get demonized and they got their weapons taken. That sells guns. So what part of what you think is happening is like, well, this is really about pronouns, and the only way to really win the election is with Joe Biden. It's like, what planet are these people living on? I don't even care anymore, because at a certain point, it's like, you're going to lose or you're going to lose. And I'm at peace with whatever happens in this country. I obviously want there to be prosperity and butterflies and rainbows and get back to normal. But if it doesn't happen, oh well. I'm ready. Maybe the coins are being separated for metals. Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of theories about it, but at a certain point, they're probably going to try to switch to a more digital back stuff. They already have slowly. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, credit cards, PayPal, Venmo. It's already slowly happening. But it's like with certain economic things, it was all slowly happening. I'm going to say this. Then I'll the churches are getting attacked. I'm going to get into that in a second. But with all the Bitcoin, Venmo, it's the same with Amazon was already swallowing stuff up. Digital was already swallowing up physical before the pandemic. Digital was taking over physical. Now with the pandemic, digital has almost completely swallowed up physical, and you're not even allowed to physical. To me, this is the digital takeover. Whether you think it is or not, whether you think they planned it or not, doesn't matter. It's happening. Digital's taking over physical. And there's nothing you can do about it because you literally can't even sell anything. So it's happening, and now they just forced it to almost a complete takeover. And it's the same thing with the coin and the digital stuff. It was already happening, but now they forced it. Someone talked about churches. It's so obvious. You can go back through history, and the media is so wicked that they say this is all like anybody who talks real. They say it's a conspiracy theory. It's a far right talking point. Look from the beginning of time. You could look before BC, which is labeled before Christ, the time of Jesus Christ. You could read the Bible and figure out that story. And then after Christ, all of human history has been trials and tribulations of people making mistakes, of people conquering each other, of religious battles between multiple religions. That's always happened. It's never not happened. It's happened in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, and 1900s. It's literally always happened. Even now, you see in Istanbul, which used to be Constantinople, they're turning the church into a mosque. Why? Because Constantinople, as far as I remember, was Christian, and I'm surprised it took them this long to turn it into a mosque, because Istanbul and Turkey is more Muslim. So they conquered the Christians there, they conquered that area. Now they're making it a mosque. I'm not knocking them. God bless my Muslim brothers and sisters. Makes sense to me. Your country, your religion, not a church anymore. I don't knock it. It's not my area. However, in America, in Europe, these are some of the last there's sects all over the world. It's a big religion in South America, Mexico, parts of Nigeria and stuff. It's all over the world, but Europe and America are some of the last majority Christian nations on the planet. So it's always been a game of conquering for all religions. That's always been the case. It's never stopped. It isn't stopping right now. It's still happening. So your churches are getting burned. It's not a coincidence. You have weird alliances as well between these atheist, demonic, wicked, confused, far lefters that are just burning stuff down all the place. And then you actually have smarter people at the tops of it who are they're just useful idiots. They're and they're you think this not happening, but for sure. So the point I'm trying to get to is church is burning, not a coincidence. Western Christian nations are burning as well, and they're being destroyed, and they're being gutted from the inside out and from the outside out and from all angles. And where are your Christian leaders? Where are your priests? Where are your pastors? Who's talking about this? Pretty much nobody, There's very few people even bringing it up. Christians have been so dumbed down and weakened. Half of them are like snowflakes. They're out Marxism is the future. It's yeah, that's really going to save your church. But it's worth talking about. Absolutely. It's definitely happening. And, people need to be aware and strong and just smart about it. And it stops when people just put a foot down, and just say no. For instance, if I owned a church, I don't own a church, but if I owned a church, I would have 24/7 security there. Okay. How hard is it to get 24/7 security? What do churches do? They just take your money. They're like, hey, Jesus Christ, here, put money in the basket. You're like, okay, take my money. So they're very good at raising money. You have evangelicals on TV all the time. They're like, hey, praise the Lord, give me $1 million so I can get another private jet. So, Joel Osteen has enough money. Where are these Christian leaders who are like, hey, 24/7 security for every church in the world, okay? If it's a big church that's in Europe, why are there no security? Do I have to do it? Do I have to be the modern day Martin Luther and just sound the alarm? I'm not trying to be, but I'm just saying, how hard is it to start a GoFundMe if you don't have the money? Lord knows these churches have the money, so what are they doing? It's you can't play the victim. You can't blame that religion. You can't blame that group of people. You can't blame these people. Blame yourself. And this goes for everyone. I say it to certain communities. They say, oh, anomalies, this. I say it to my own people too. If you're a Christian, if you're American, whatever you are, Italian, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, Asian, it doesn't matter. It's don't blame other groups of people. Don't blame other countries. Don't blame other regimes. Blame yourself. Why are you being weak? Why are you allowing it? Why is nobody talking about it? Why is nobody standing up for it? Get a security guard in every church because they're burning churches across the world. So how hard is that? I don't know. It's this church burned in Europe. Of course. Why are you... If it's my church, I got people on every side of the church. I got cameras all around it. You got somebody on East Spire on Church Anomaly, so what are you doing? All right, sorry. Read some more, and then I'm going to take off. Someone said we need a leader who's God-centered. Kanye West 2020. Kanye loves God. I'm just playing. I'm not voting for him in 2020, but 2024, if they really screw stuff up, I might roll the dice and go for Kanye. I might go for him. He's a little out there, but he definitely loves God. Someone said, love what happened to the BLM in Boise, Idaho. The Trump supporters outnumbered them 5-1. People prey off weakness. Listen, I got some beautiful people in my friends group that support Black Lives Matter, and they're good people trying to do the right thing. And then there's these side protesters and rioters who are not trying to do the right thing. But either way, whether it's Boise or here, point I'm getting to is they're doing something. Even when the people weren't breaking in, what were they doing when they protested for a week? They were shutting down businesses. In California, where I was, what were they doing? Shutting down businesses, shutting down Hollywood, shutting down West Hollywood. What does that do? It closes restaurants. What have restaurants been? Closed for 3 months. So you're sitting there closing restaurants and saying, oh, I'm not doing anything, I'm peaceful. But you're in the streets without a permit, so you're closing the street, closing the restaurant, and then other people are looting it, and then you keep doing it, and you act like you don't see it. It is your fault. You are closing. You are destroying things. So what I'm getting to is in Boise, I'm glad that they did that. I saw on Twitter, because I was watching everything, I saw that Huntington Beach did the same thing. The police pushed the people to this, not like physically pushed them, but said, you're not allowed to do that here. And a bunch of MAGA people and business owners and people who live there said, you're not destroying our Main Street. And guess what happened? They didn't destroy the Main Street. And guess what happened? They went and destroyed somewhere that was weaker. That's what bad people do. That's why when it comes to, a lot of school shooters and such, a lot of times they go to schools where it's a gun-free zone. Not all the time, but a big majority of the time. It's because these people are cowards. These people are horrible, wicked people, and they don't like being confronted. It's easy to take advantage of Portland. It's easy to take advantage of Seattle. It's not easy to take advantage of Boise, Idaho. So eventually they leave, and they're going to cry, and they're going to call you racist, and they're going to call you sexist, but it doesn't matter because they're going to call you that anyway. It doesn't. If you do nothing, if you just sit there, read Jamel Hill's Twitter. She said, everybody who votes for Trump is a racist. There's no denying it. Oh, yeah, 60, 70 million people are racist if you don't vote for Joe Biden, who wrote the crime bill that was, according to your agenda, anti-black. That's what he did. He's got videos of him doing questionable stuff. I mean, so that's the message you're telling to your people. Everyone who votes for Trump is a racist. There's only two real candidates in this election, Trump and Biden. So Biden is by far a career politician. Horrible track record, and everything you claim to care about was anti-gay marriage, and you claim you're pro-LGBT, was anti-black when it came to, policies that you would consider pro-black. I mean, nothing you say that you believe in, he was for, but you're a racist if you don't vote for him. These people are disgusting. The point I'm getting to is, doesn't matter, just hold your ground and be like, no, I don't know, you're not destroying this building, you're not looting it, you're not ruining our Well, we're wearing masks till 2025. Why aren't you? Don't worry about it. It's not, Florida's open, and then move away. Go somewhere else. Florida's doing fine. Look at the Florida rate. These people are such, and I'm going to get to another question. These people are such liars. I'm going to read again. This is not per even cases. I'm talking per population. So you have to adjust it because certain places have more people. New York has 1,694 COVID deaths per million. Florida has 232. They're doing 5, 6, 7 times better than New York, and they have a similar population, and they're getting closer to cases. So any excuse that you said for why you think New York was worse, it's not working. It's like, well, they're not doing it. Well, they're not doing as bad as you. You did all this stuff, and you still have 7 times as many deaths. So maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe there's something you're missing here, which I could tell you what it is, multiple things. One, Cuomo put elderly people with COVID-19 into nursing homes with people who didn't have it. He panicked and put them in nursing homes when they were infected with the virus. I'm sure that had to have killed people. How could it not? I mean, imagine knowing a bunch of people had the flu and even putting them in a nursing home with people who didn't have the flu. It's insane. Like, whatever. All right, I'm going to read a few more. Someone said concealed carry permits are setting all-time records. People are realizing police can't protect them. Absolutely. It's the silver lining. And people are going to get mad at that. They're like, how dare people do this? Why wouldn't they? If you hate it, these people are paradoxes because everything they hate, they actually make grow. They hate the Second Amendment. Beto hates the Second Amendment. He sells an all-time record because people are afraid of losing it. They hate the Second Amendment, but then they're causing chaos everywhere and trying to pretend like it doesn't happen. They say they're pro-science, but then they won't even tell the truth about science, and then people don't trust them, and then they wonder why people don't trust them. Why would people trust you when you told them for 2 months, don't get in groups of 3 people, and then you allowed people to march in New York City with 10,000 plus, 20,000 plus, 10 million plus people across the nation, and you wrote that it doesn't matter that it happened because it only matters what type of protest you went to. Who would trust you? You don't even trust yourself. You don't even like yourself. That's why you're so angry at everything. It all starts internally. It's like, why are people into conspiracy theories? Because all you do is lie. Why wouldn't you be into a conspiracy theory? What's not a conspiracy theory? Russiagate was a conspiracy theory, a theory of a conspiracy that was never proved true. Every theory that I have, I prove with facts and articles. So who are you lying to? That audience is so small now. Michelle said you're fired up tonight. I like standing up because I kind of like, I can move and I feel more agile. So I think the standing up does it. Because when I'm hunched over, it's a whole new vibe. That's why I got this standing desk. You see what I'm saying? Look, it goes up and then it goes down and then it goes up. I'm not playing this year. I'm tired. All right, I'm going to read this comment. Let's see. Diane Jean said, if police are defunded in the big cities, do you think citizens are going to be held hostage until the demands of BLM are met? The cities are not going to get better until they have a conservative leader or until they implode. And there's no way they're getting better. To me, they're too weak. I've watched what they did with the homelessness got worse, crime got worse, everything got worse even before COVID because they're weak. They don't look out for the worker. They don't look out for the taxpayer. They don't look out for the Hispanic family that's got to sends their kid to school. I don't know who they're just master diverters. They're like, they act like they don't even see the homelessness. Like if you drove through LA, I'm not even kidding. I lived there for 7 years. Listen, I'm very grateful. I worked hard. I took the bus. I took the train. I didn't come from, a silver spoon. I came there for $1,000. I've done it all. It got worse and worse and worse. When I would fly into LA and I drive, I'm like, am I literally in hell? There's just tents everywhere, trash everywhere. Like it's disgusting. It's insane. If you wouldn't believe how terrible it is if you're in an area that's not that terrible. If you're there, you know what I'm saying is true. And now it's even worse because all the businesses are shut down. So all you have is street activity. Nothing else is going on. It's insane. It's going to get worse. No question. I don't know about what BLM's going to do, but it's not going to work. So if you're in a city, prepare yourself. I mean, it's not even like psychologically possible to get better until a better leader gets there or, they change their route, which they don't have any plans of doing. What's my thought about kids going back to school? I mean, I did a whole video on it. Just look at the data. It's virtually zero for kids. It's virtually very, very low for anybody under 65. Everything we've done is an overreaction. Not sending kids back to school they're just imploding American society. There's no data. There's no stats. It's a medical, big pharma / big government, just total takeover of the country. And I'm not saying the virus isn't real. The virus is real, but the data is not that crazy to shut down school. They're never going to stop doing this. There has to be some sort of intervention or like awakening because they're like, oh, the teachers can't put up with it. It's insane. So I think they should go back to school. But the silver lining is people should really consider homeschooling your kids because what's the point? I know it's hard when people have jobs and work and what they're doing is disgusting to teachers, to people who rely on this to get their kids off their hands. But when they're teaching your kids this stuff, like imagine sending your kid to school in Seattle and then the teacher says, they're floating these ideas of like racist stuff toward like only these kids should get the vaccine first and these kids should go back to school first. They're like racially segregating again and treating people of certain ethnicities terrible based off their skin color. So why would you send your kid to a school where they're just going to, destroy their mind and give them victim mentality and all this pseudo-intellectual, just damaging, Marxist ideology and then over-sexualize the kids? Like, I mean, in a way, it's kind of, I think, a blessing in disguise that people need to figure out options. And this is the nightmare of the left is, although the Republicans are useless, the left wants to do free education and free healthcare. It sounds good. Everyone gets free everything. That's amazing. Free education, what's also the thing that they pair with free education? They say, no more charter schools, no more private schools. They want one government school and have no other option. Trump's the opposite. Charter schools, private schools. You want more options. You don't want your kid going to, a public school. If you could get a voucher to go to a private school, that's cool. I'm lucky, my mom moved somewhere that had good public schools. She purposely did it. But in general, you don't want a singular government public school that you have that's what progressives want. They don't even know it because they're too naive or brainwashed. But they're like, we need the free education. Then why do you want to shut down private schools and charter schools? How come your free healthcare is so good, but you won't let me opt out? They force you to pay for it. I can't, even in California last year, I can't just opt out. They say, here's the healthcare. It's not free. First of all, I have to buy it. And if I don't buy it, they charge me. I have to pay $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, whatever it is. because I didn't buy it. They just scam you and just steal your money. It's nuts. But I don't want to go down that lane right now. Someone said, my son lost his dorm, but I'm mental health. Kids need social setting. They're fighting on the internet. Oh, for sure. This is terribly psychologically damaging. I mean, what they're doing to society. Here's what I want to say, too. I don't even understand why this is controversial to say, because I guess people just believe anything that anyone says. But I'm gonna find my tweet real quick, because I really wrote it out. I'm just going to say this. I'm not saying this is 100% for sure, but this is definitely a big possibility, and you at least have to consider it if you're an honest scientist or statistician or however you say it. From nursing home strategy to lockdown strategy to quarantine strategy to economic strategy to medication strategy to ventilation strategy to hospital strategy, it's very plausible to think that the government overreach killed more people than they saved. Everything that they're doing, economically, quarantining, mentally, physically, people overeating, they can't talk to each other, they can't go to school, they're not playing sports, they're not doing this. How are we going to know that this saved millions of people? No, it didn't. Trump's lying. I'm sorry. The news is lying. The Democrats are lying. They're all lying. Oh, Trump, I had to shut down or I'd save millions of people. No, that's not true. I don't care that it's Trump. He's wrong. I don't know if he's politically wrong because he wants to win the election or something, but it's not true. It's damaging what they're doing. It's physically damaging. It's mentally damaging. It's economically damaging. It's, people are doing bad things to themselves, ending their lives just off the depression that they have from this. But not just that, the economic damage over the next 5 years could kill 10 times as many people. They don't know yet. It's like when they greenlight a drug or something and they haven't studied it. They're like, oh, we studied it for a year. Well, what if it does something in 10 years? How are you going to release a vaccine in Operation Warp Speed? Well, yeah, that's great. Well, what if it takes 10 years to find out something? That's why they take their time usually. So they're rushing this one. That's not necessarily a good thing. So I hear you. It's very frustrating because what they're doing, if you compare it to Sweden, who didn't do a strong lockdown, there's almost no difference between they're doing better. Sweden with no lockdown, no mask mandate, no hard lockdown. They're doing better than the UK, who did a big lockdown. They're doing better than Italy, that did a big lockdown. They're doing better than Belgium, who did a lockdown. There is no 20 times as many people, 50 times. That doesn't exist. They're all lying. Trump's lying. The news is lying. Democrats are lying. There is no it would have been 20 times worse. That's all in their head. They think it would have been 20 times worse. Eventually, you're going to have to hit herd immunity. Eventually, you're going to have to live with it. And that's what we're doing. There's 2 million cases, guys, or 3 million. How many million cases are there in America? Look up the stats. We're going to stop the virus. This is going to stop the virus from coming to me or coming. And then people say, oh, it's like you sneeze or you pee. There's like the meme go around, if I pee and you have your pants on and you pee, then the pee won't get there. It's like, guys, it's in 2 million people. It's not the same as that. It's not like everyone just peeing. It's like, imagine there's pee on 2 million things across the country and you're trying to stop it from being everywhere, but it's a particle that's so small it goes through most masks. So that whole logic of that meme is really dumb, but people are like, oh, I'm smart because the pee meme. It's like, no, it doesn't make sense. It's already in millions of people. It's already in millions of places. So where's it going? Is it going to disappear? Is it going to slow down because we're not helping at this point at all. It's an understandable idea to try to stop it completely in the first week or two or the first month. That semi makes sense, but it doesn't make sense anymore. They're not going to stop it. They're not going to slow it. They're only doing destruction, and there is no data that shows that it's helping. Sweden is not doing 10 times worse or 5 times worse or 8 times worse. It's simply not true. And there is ways that we can do a half in, half out, run everything, but be a little bit cautious. That's a possibility, but we're not doing that. We're doing full shutdowns. You have... I'm just going to read real quick the worst 4 places per capita in the U.S. Ready? The worst one is New Jersey at 1,776 deaths per million. Second, Democrat governor Phil Murphy. New York at 1,674 COVID deaths per million. Bill de Blasio in New York City and Governor Cuomo, another Democrat. Connecticut, 1,233, another Democrat. Massachusetts, actually a Republican. However, one that doesn't want to open until phase 4, bars and saunas are not allowed to open before a vaccine. So you have Democrat, 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 we're not going to open until a vaccine. Belgium, who did not very good, 845. You multiply that by 2, is still not, Belgium's not even as bad as New Jersey. Belgium lockdown, UK lockdown, Italy lockdown, Spain lockdown, and they're all doing worse than Sweden. Lockdown, 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 doing worse. Sweden, no hard lockdown, no mask mandate. They're not doing astronomically bad. Oh, they're doing worse than the United States by 1.3. 1.3. That's nothing. That's not what Trump said. That's not what the Democrats said. That's not what the news said. That's not what Fauci said. That's not how it works. But we can just pretend like, yeah, this is going to work, guys. Shut down the economy. Let Black Lives Matter destroy, your city, and just wrap this on your face, and the virus is going to go away. The virus that's in 2 million people already, the virus that's probably in millions of places, it's going to slow down, because you're going to go into a supermarket like this with 100 people. You're going to watch them hit police in Chicago with hundreds of people, but your hair salon with 5 people is just going to really, really plant the seed. Meanwhile, you can go on a plane with 200 people. So don't, make sure you wear this in the coffee shop, because you might get somebody. But if 100 or 200 people go on a United Airlines plane from New York to California, that's not going to spread it. It's not going to spread it because they have to make money, because the airlines are powerful and you're not, and they want to travel and they want to semi-open the country, and they're just like idiots making rules. Like, that's why we don't give government the power. You go, you don't go, you stop, you start. How about you get off my back and just leave everyone alone? Because it doesn't make sense. You can't run a hair salon with 2 people in at one time or 3 people in at one time, but you can put 200 people on a United Airlines thing. Oh, well, they have masks on the whole time? No, of course. How do you eat? They give you food and they give you drinks. I was on the airplane. You know what you do? You take the mask off, and then they say, oh my God, Ted Cruz doesn't have a mask on because he's drinking coffee, and you're allowed to do that on the airplane. So you got 200 people, take off your mask, you're breathing, it's going to travel. If it's airborne, if it's not airborne, it's going to travel anyway. Like, you're touching your face, like Fauci said, you touch your face and then you touch something else, that could spread it. You're going to sit there for 5 hours, you're not touching anything? Of course you are. It's a freaking joke. It's a freaking joke. You can't open a hair salon with 2 people in it, but you can go on an airplane with 200 people on it. And people buy this. They're like, Chris Cuomo's doing a fantastic job, and Fauci's going to save America. I mean, yeah, Chris Cuomo's doing so good with 1,776 COVID deaths per million. Florida's bad because Ron DeSantis bad. He likes Trump bad. They have 232 deaths. If you multiply Ron DeSantis' state per million, it's not even case or population-wise. I'm talking when you equal it out to make it times 5, still 500 plus lower than what's his name? So if you multiply the rate in Florida times 5, he's still 500 under New York and New Jersey. And that's 2 times what they are, which is 232. So they're doing astronomically better. But the news said that Ron DeSantis was bad and Cuomo was the model. The model for what? Murdering elderly people because you put, infected people into the nursing home? The model for deception? The model for pretending to be like an Italian dad, but really being a sneaky liar who has perhaps the worst death rate in the entire world, let alone definitely second worst in the country. New York is second worst. New Jersey's first worst. So I guess New Jersey would be the worst in the world. But I would have to compare it to other cities. But on what planet are they doing way better? They're doing their top 2 worst in the U.S. And compared to other countries, I'm sure there's 1 or 2 that's worse. But they're doing in the 1-2 percentile of death. That's really good. So annoying. Someone said all the grocery store employees going strong. Well, God bless you guys. I'm glad you guys are going strong. It's crazy. I like this. I'm gonna read some positivity. Cindy said, I decided a long time ago to live my life. COVID is everywhere. Herd immunity with protecting most vulnerable is the intelligent option. Exactly. Keep the elderly and the immune compromised away, and let everybody else keep the economy afloat. I'll tell you what. It's insane. It's not like a bad thing. People are like, that's bad. No, what's happening now is bad, and it's going to hurt more people than it's going to help. If you're old, you could stay away, but they should give old people the freedom. If you're immune compromised, or you have comorbidities, or you're an elderly person, you should have the freedom to do something. If you have a disease, they can't just say, oh, well, you can't go here or there most of the time. It's like you're not allowed to skydive or go on a cruise because, we feel like you're a bad, you might get sick. It's like you're allowed to take a risk. That's the world. If you're elderly and you're 85, you should be allowed to go out if you want to go out. And if you're afraid of the virus, then stay inside. But making everybody stay inside is the most psychotic strategy ever. It makes zero sense. There's always been flus. If you're over 85, you could die from the flu. You could die from the pneumonia. You could die from COVID-19. You could die from falling down the stairs. You could die from, literally almost anything, but you don't just leave elderly people in the house all the time unless they want to be there or they're too old to really move. They're allowed to travel. They're allowed to go to bingo. That's just how it works. You can get the flu at bingo. The average flu will probably kill an elderly person that it doesn't have a strong immune system, but that doesn't mean they stop going out if they want to go out. It should all be a choice. You're hurting me. Don't go to work. If you're a teacher and you're scared, quit. I'll go fund you some money so you shut your mouth. It's like, I want to shut down society for years upon years, and you're hurting me if you don't do it. No, I'm not. Just don't leave your house. Like, I'm not allowed to go to the gym, but you're allowed to go on an airplane. How does that make sense? You're saving 0 lives. You're hurting my life. I'm going on an airplane and running in the park, but if you do what you want to do, you're hurting me. How? If you're so afraid, don't go. Like, I go to Whole Foods and I go on planes and I go to supermarkets and Black Lives Matter protests, and that's really healthy for me. But like, if you do what you want to do in a free country, then you're hurting me really badly. How does that work? It doesn't make any sense. Peggy said, I'm an elderly and high risk. This country needs to open. My personal health is just that, a personal choice. God bless you, Peggy. And if you're feeling scared, because viruses can be scary, if you're feeling scared, you could stay aside, and I'm sure family members who love you or somebody will, bring you food and, bring you stuff. And if you want to go out and take a risk, that's a beautiful thing. Go for a walk, go, get your hair done or whatever. That's your choice. That's exactly. It's so easy. If you're a teacher that is scared, we'd make so much money by opening. We could fund all the teachers that are scared. We'll pay you to stay home. With all the economy stuff that's opening up, billions of dollars coming in, we'll set a fund for the I'm too afraid to teach kids. Here's the money. Sit in your house, watch TV, eat food, wear a mask. Get one of these, but get one that filters out 100% air. Get like a whole spacesuit. N95 masks are not even that great. Get one of these and get one that like suctions air like you're an astronaut. But you can't make everybody else be as afraid of you. I'm afraid of STDs, but I don't stop everyone else from having sex. It's like people go to nightclubs all the time and have like unprotected sex. I don't stop the rest of the world. It's not my thing. I'm not trying to do it, but if you want to do it, how can I stop you? I'm afraid of STDs, so everybody in the world needs to stop having sex because STDs are bad. AIDS kills a lot of people. STDs kill a lot of people, probably millions. I haven't even looked up the list, but STDs probably kill millions of people. I want to save your life. I want to save everyone's life. I want to save my life. But I don't stop you from doing it. I just don't participate. And if that's your choice, hopefully you wash up, wash very good. Someone said, did you hear about the couple who got put on house arrest because they didn't want to sign the quarantine paperwork? Yeah, I posted it. It's insane. They didn't want to sign it because it had crazy wording. I wouldn't sign it either. What does it say? It's probably not just like a one-liner. It's probably like a couple pages. Says some sketchy stuff. They didn't want to sign it. They got put on house arrest because they got a positive test for COVID, but they had no symptoms. Guys, this is insanity. If you have the flu and it's asymptomatic, you don't even know you have it. If you have the flu bad enough, you know you have it. The flu's pretty bad. You could be out for 2 weeks with the flu. How bad is this thing that This is an article I found. I've posted it a few times, but pork plant asymptomatic. This is at a pork plant. Nearly 400 workers at a Missouri pork plant, all asymptomatic, test positive for coronavirus. 400 people. No offense to pork plant workers. If there's any here, God bless you guys. You might be fitter than me, but I'm just saying, if you're going to take 400 workers at a Missouri pork plant, unless they're also training for the Olympics, I'm guessing out of those 400, there's going to be a decent chunk of them who are 40, 50, 60, not in Olympic shape. And I'm not knocking. I'm just saying, it's like none of them knew they had it. So what does that say to you about this virus? If either the test, if it was 100% accurate, 400 pork plant workers have the virus and don't even know they have it. I mean, these are not all Michael Phelps. Maybe they are. Maybe it's the most jacked pork plant in the world. And I'm not knocking people who work at plants. You get what I'm saying, though. It's not like they went into the NBA and tested everybody who's in peak physical condition. It's like going into any industry and just testing 400 random workers and being like, they all have it, but not a single one of them knew. Isn't that a little bit weird? Like, you're talking about probably 30-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds. You probably got some people pushing their late 60s at that pork plant. They didn't know. I'm sure they'd know if they had the flu. So, but you're going to quarantine them? You got to quarantine or we're going to put you on house arrest, even though you don't even know you have it. It's so asymptomatic. How do people not get this? It's so crazy to me. And I felt this way my whole life. I'm like, I'm the crazy one. No one's paying attention. I'm like, even since I was like 17, I'm like, this isn't going to end well. Because if you don't pay attention to all these wicked things going on, they're not going away. It's not like they're not happening because you don't want to acknowledge them. So I'm just thinking the whole time, I'm like, this is not, and then this all happens. I'm not surprised. I'm a little annoyed, but like, this is not surprising. If you research what these people are doing, what these industries are doing, what the government's doing, not theories, not conspiracies. I'm talking like government documents that are public that you could look up in an archive if you wanted to. If you look up what they're doing, this shouldn't be a surprise. They've been doing crazy stuff for like 50, 60 years, if not forever, and no one cared about it. No one looked it up. So now it's just building, similar to the people in Portland and Seattle. If you allow people to do this stuff and it just gets worse and worse and worse and crazier and horrible and affecting more people and no one does anything about it, nobody says anything about it, everybody thinks it's crazy, it's going to eventually affect you. And that's where we're at now. And so many people are taking the bait. It's not, and I'm not saying the virus, just to elaborate, I'm not saying it's not real. I'm not saying it's not a good thing to get, but the reaction that we've had to this, the response that we had to this is so wildly unnecessary and completely irrational and completely destructive. It's mind-boggling that people don't get it, but it is what it is. Justin said, I need your help, Anomaly. How do I educate my people? I don't know. I'm sitting here getting annoyed. We'll have some fun, but I don't know. I do my best. I make videos, but you can't wake everyone up. All you can do is try. I'm busting my butt. I mean, last week I had a video about how they're counting. 2 million views, 3 million views. I'm out here cranking. After this is done, I'm going to make another one. So I'm doing as much as I can, but at the end of the day, when I'm done, can't stress about it. I don't bug about it all day. I just try to have fun. I put my space helmet on. I start working out with my space helmet on. You know what I'm saying? I try to play tennis or, go in the pool or something. I try to have fun too. So I don't know. There's only so much you could do. Just try to show people the right stuff. But not everyone's going to get it. I don't know. I have people in my family and friends that they just don't want to get it. So I just have to change subjects. And, it's like, oh, well, it is what it is, I guess. Someone said, sometimes it's not racism, it's policy. And yes, there's sometimes when it is. Well, the reason I don't even use the word racism seriously anymore is because I'm going to do a skit about it later this week, but it's been overused. So like whatever the word was supposed to mean, it's been massively over exaggerated. And to explain why something's racist, it's better to just like explain what's going on than to just say the word racist, because it tends to stop discussions. Because obviously there's things in the world that are racist, but at this point it's like you have Huffington Post and like Vox writers, they're like, is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer racist? Could toilet paper be racist? And it's like, do you believe yourself? Like, who told you that this was like a stunning journalism piece. Like this is, I sound like I'm a 50-year-old now, but it's like, this is like participation trophy culture where like at a certain point, it's like, no, Becky, people don't want to hear. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is the story of an underdog. He has a weird nose and he's a goofball and he looks weird, but they prove that the oddball can win. And then he goes to the island of misfit toys. Maybe I'm getting my Christmas things mixed up, but the island of misfit toys, and they're all there and they're all misfits and they're like, hey, I'm the Jack in the Box that doesn't work. Oh, I'm the boat that doesn't swim, you know? And they got all the oddballs. He's like, I'm a weirdo too. And they're like, hey, you know, we're rejected. No one loves us. And then Rudolph's like, you know what? I'm going to make people love me. I'm going to shine up so bright with my crazy nose. I'm going to show Santa the way to go. And that's what the story was about. It wasn't about racism. It was about the weird people winning. So I was a weird kid and I was like, yeah, I'm not a reject. I'm going to save the world with my red nose. Like, that's what it's about. Not like, well, I think it's about the intersectional racism because it's a problematic movie that hurts my face. Like, participation trophy, take it away. You don't get a gold, you don't get a silver, you don't get a bronze. You get nothing. Like from Billy Madison, he said, you get nothing. Everyone in this room is now dumber, having heard you talk, or whatever that clip was. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. These people, it's so annoying. All right. Diane said, you look like my friend Randy when he was young. Shout out Diane. Shout out Randy, who I guess looked like me 30 years ago. Congrats. Someone said Rudolph works for the white man Santa. I didn't even read the article. Actually, let's read the article. Okay, we'll have some fun before I leave. Rudolph, we'll read the actual article. Because I'm not exaggerating. This really was, where is it? All right, I don't know if this is the one. All right, I'm just going to read this one. I don't even know if this is the one, but apparently there's like multiple articles about how racist Rudolph is. This is from kjzz.org. Steve Goldstein. Is Rudolph racist? Viewing old art through a modern lens. During this holiday season, maybe you've turned on the television or dialed up a subscriber service to catch one of the old classics like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or A Charlie Brown Christmas. But some on social media are saying that Rudolph in particular has racist and bigoted elements and is out of step with our current sensibilities. So should we measure these okay, sorry, Mr. Goldstein. I have a friend with the last name Goldstein. I'm going to talk to him sometime. He's a little more interesting. All right, here's Tampa Bay Doc. How many articles there's literally like 20 articles about Rudolph being racist. I'm going to read this one. Does Rudolph espouse bigotry and racism? Let's read this one. Hey, fire snout, one of the young reindeer says, mocking him. Another teases him with rainbow puss. Stop calling me names, Rudolph cries in response. But was the red-nosed reindeer marginalized? That is the premise of a Huffington Post video posted Wednesday to Twitter that has been viewed some 5.3 million times this Sunday afternoon. The video notes an instance in the film where Rudolph's father verbally abuses him. The father of Rudolph's love interest is called a bigot for forbidding his daughter from being seen with a red nose. The video includes various reactions to the film from Twitter saying, yearly reminder that hashtag Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is a parable of racism and homophobia with Santa as a bigoted... I can't even read this. How is it homophobic? No one is talking about gay or straight sex in the whole movie. These people are literally idiotic. It's insane. I'm going to just keep reading. This is from a literal article trying to say Rudolph is racist. These people think they're going to save the world. They're like, you know, the reason that Portland has so much crime and Seattle has so much crime and New York is because Rudolph is brainwashing the kids with racism and bigotry, and then they grow up and vote for Trump. It's like these people are sick. It's not entirely clear whether the video was satire or meant to be taken seriously. It was not satire. They're trying to say it was satire now. You can't tell. There's another, like, this is not satire. I gotta go. They're so bad, they act like as soon as everyone makes fun of them, they're like, actually, that might have been satire. Hold on, protesters, what? This is a serious New York Times article. Are the protests unsafe? Are the protests dangerous? What experts are saying might depend on who's protesting what. Public health experts decried the anti-lockdown protests as dangerous gatherings during the pandemic. Health experts seem less comfortable doing so now that the marches are against racism. So is this a parody? It's like they're literally saying, it's not a parody. They get called out and they're like, I think we were joking. You're not joking, which is fine. Just stop doing this. All right, I'm done. The fact that he was bullied shows that he can win. You can get bullied and win. They were mean to Rudolph, but that's the point of it. He got through the meanness. How hard is it? It's like, he should have never been bullied. I'm over it. I'm sorry. What's the thing about the ice cream truck jingle being racist? I don't even want to get into it. All right, I'll read a few more and then I'm going to get out. I really want to make this Kanye video before I go to bed, but I've been getting up early. I've been getting up at like 5 o'clock. It's nice. I'll read this. Someone said, why not talk about something real like the judge on Epstein's case ordering the evidence to be destroyed? I think I talked about that one time, but Michael, you can frame your question a little nicer. It's okay. You're like, you could ask the question, but you're like, why not talk about something real? How dare you make Rudolph the Reindeer jokes? You know, I want to talk about Epstein right now. Anomaly, don't make people laugh with Rudolph things. That's not what I want. I want the real thing right this second. Now, Anomaly, talk about Epstein. I've talked about it before. We'll look it up for you so you little sourpuss, you can feel better about yourself. Here, let me see. Epstein destroyed evidence. Here you go. Don't cry. Hold on, it's coming. It's in Newsweek. It says, let's see, judge rules Virginia Giuffre's lawyers must destroy Jeffrey Epstein files. And just like that, with me saying that, boom, the evidence just resurfaced. So me saying that really made a huge difference. So now that the evidence is like everywhere, they just discovered it on the Island of Misfit Toys because I said it. Because whether I say or not say that's really going to move the needle on the Ghislaine Maxwell case. It's not about me saying it to 4,000 people, or it is about that. It's not about Ghislaine Maxwell with all the evidence, with all the proof, with all the knowledge, with all probably, physical evidence as well. Being in federal authorities, that's what we're all waiting for. But no, Anomaly, stop joking about Rudolph and get to the truth. So there's so much sketchy stuff going on with the Epstein case. I mean, I'm sorry I wasn't talking about it on the second that you wanted it. It's funny because I like questions about everything, but how people word stuff is funny. Like I blocked somebody today, and I don't really block that many people, but I dropped a new rap on Instagram and on YouTube, and I don't care that people don't like my rap. It's not like I do multiple things. I don't care what you do or don't like, but I blocked him because he was like, don't rap. I don't like your rap. Just do news. And I'm like, well, now you don't get the news. Now you're blocked. Now you don't get the news. And he's going to cry and probably email me and be like, Anomaly, I really like the news. How'd you do it? It's like, you could have said, I don't like the rap song. I like the news better. You wouldn't have got blocked. I'm not self-conscious. It's not like I care what you think. But you didn't say that. You didn't say, I don't like the rap. I like the news. You worded it like, don't do this. How dare you? It's like, what? I have like platinum hip-hop producers messaging me being like, I love that. Let's work. Do this. It's not your lane. It's okay. You don't like rap music. But other people do. Like 99% of the comments. It's not like I'm getting ratioed. Everyone's saying they suck. 99% of the people are like, yo, that's fire. I got hip-hop legends saying that's epic. That's amazing. That's the best rap I've heard in a while. It doesn't matter you don't like it, but just don't word it like that. Be like, just stop doing this now because I only like this. You're mine. You do what I say you do right when It's like that whole vibe is just a weird vibe. So I don't mind you asking about the Epstein, but it's like, why not talk about something real? I don't know. We're having fun. I've been talking for an hour and a half, and we're trying to laugh about Rudolph for 5 minutes, and then we'll get back to, the world that we deal with. It's okay. But it's not a big deal. I just think it's funny when people word it like that. Someone said, I'm at the tail end of your live. I like how you finish with something light and positive. Thank you. Well, it's like with my hair, too. I don't care what people think, but some people are like, cut it short. I like it long. Put it like this. Do it like that. I like no beard. Put the beard on. It's like, it's okay. I get it. Like some people like both, but it's when you have 4,000 people, everyone